Wow, the snow's making it hard to see, but off in the distance you can see like huge buildings everywhere. I wonder where a tour group is.
Now the first part which was built here is over here. The part was covered with brick and wooden barracks. Some of the barracks were made of bricks because the prisoners who built the camp had to use bricks materials from destroyed Polish houses. That's why they're brick. When the camp was short of materials, the German Nazis started to send here parts of wooden barracks, stables. Barracks which were supposed to be for horses were built for people. So the rest of the camp was covered with wooden barracks, like you can see over there in the first row. But now we can mainly see foundations of barracks and chimneys from heaters, because most of the wooden barracks were dismantled either by the Nazis or by the Soviets after the liberation. And then after the war there were many barracks here, but they were falling apart, so the museum didn't know how to preserve them, so they were dismantled, and later the museum built 19 barracks, which you can see over there. Birkenau was very big. The camp was built for 100,000 prisoners. Now we remember one of the pictures which we saw in Auschwitz I, the arrival at the camp of Hungarian Jews, and in that picture, in its background, we saw two buildings with chimneys. The gas chambers and crematoria number 2 and number 3. They were at the very end of the platform, on both sides. We are in the selections place, and we are looking at the typical wagon in which the victims were deported. As you can see, the wagon was very big, and I mentioned that usually there were up to 80 people in such a sealed wagon. A journey very long, so it was a torment for the victims, because they in summertime they suffered there from unbearable heat, and in winter time it was freezing there.
I don't know if you can tell from the walking, but this camp is enormous. I think the size, if you imagine all the people who would have been here, gives you some sort of idea of how crazy this place was.
So after the selection, the victims were left here, accompanied by the guards, and then we had to go downstairs, over there, to the first underground room, the undressing room, where there were benches, racks for clothes. We had to take all their clothes there, and then they were moved to the right, over there. The second underground room, the gas chamber. They were killed with a cyclone V there, and then their bodies were moved with an elevator to the crematorium, which was on the ground floor. Where the prisoners slept, such a barrack was designated for around 700 prisoners. And as you can see, they slept on bunks. Usually there were 4 prisoners per bunk, sometimes even 5. They had about half an hour to use sanitary barracks, so they were fighting for everything, for toilets, for water. Those were weak were pushed behind the group. They couldn't even use the barracks properly. And because of terrible living conditions, lack of efficient sanitary facilities, the prisoners suffered from disease. And about 90% of them had diarrhea. They suffered from skin disease, scabies, infections were common, typhus, which was spread by lice.
Auschwitz was definitely one of the most unique experiences I've had. Most of the time I was there, I walked in silence, eyes slightly towards the ground. Deep in my thoughts, but not quite sure what I should be thinking or how I should be feeling. Maybe that's why I kept my head down, because I was afraid to show the wrong expression. It was at the memorial that I had a glimpse of what was swirling inside of me. As soon as I read the message written there, without warning, tears swelled up and I had to try really hard to hold them back. It made me think about history and how we learn it, not for curiosity, but in the hopes that we can be a bit better. I didn't need to search for an answer. The answer screams at you. The voices of the victims beg you to never let the same mistake be made again. But I don't know if I'm confident enough to say that we're not. Because I know how easy it is to falter and let ourselves repeat our mistakes. I think our responsibility is not to remember or appreciate what we have, but to promise to fight for justice every